Great win Tuesday. It was an exciting night. The crowd was terrific. Our team played so well, and now we go into down to Bloomington, where it's one of the more difficult places to win in the league, and we're going to play a great game and play much like we did Tuesday night. So we've had 2 days. Really, it was important that guys like Derek and Zach, in particular, get some rest. So we actually had them do nothing for 2 days other than lift weights. They didn't even do a dummy. Usually we do something with them, not even anything. We thought this was a span that we very rarely get these days off to just do nothing. So I think it will be very helpful for both of them, in particular Zach, that he just needs a little bit of a rest. If you look at his stats in the 5 or 6 games prior to he got sick, they were outstanding. He had 20 against Wisconsin. He had 28 another game, and all of a sudden he gets sick and he hasn't bounced back. So I think it's important he just gets some rest and gets better.
Okay. Coach Mohamed's kind of found a groove the last few games. Is it a matter of approach he's been taking, or just seeing the shots?
No, just the consistent work. You know, we asked all our guys as we got into this league. We basically were very forthright with them where we thought they had to gain strength in, and one of those was his assertiveness, his practice habits. They're not bad. When we talk about our kids not having an edge, or we're not talking about kids that are dogs. We're talking about kids that are just this close to being a much better basketball player. He's one of those guys. He's got the athleticism to run by everybody, jump over people, guard people. But it's not always as easy for him as it may be for a guy like a Zach Novak, it was the only way to survive. So that's what I think he sees right now. Boy, if I apply all my God-given talents with a little bit more effort, it's never a bad effort, but this like really intense effort, I can be a better player.
After the last game, you're kind of talking about not knowing when all the shots are going to fall, and they look like they do in the first half the other night. I wonder, how does that kind of impact game planning and on-the-fly decisions in the course of a first half? You know, when you make your first 5 threes and suddenly, okay, now we can do this or that. Yeah. How do you kind of
I don't think it impacts us at all. I just think we go with the flow of it. As you can't say, hey, we're on fire, we're going to call this. Now, we would see a guy, if we see a guy is really feeling it. But as far as a team thing, we're saying what works and what didn't work. And gradually, if you like say, okay, this is the only way we're going to win, and you just go, we're just going to shoot threes all night, all of a sudden you get empty real quick. So I don't think there's too much in a game that happens that you just say, okay, this is the way we're going to go, because adjustments are going to be made both ways. So we are a good shooting team. That's never been the big adjustment we had to make. The adjustment is, can we finish possessions at the other end?
And I wonder, as a follow-up, was the first half of that game, I believe 5 of your first 6 shots were inside the arc. Was that design?
No, it was just we had a plan going in there. They had guarded us a certain way, and they did a wonderful job of it up in East Lansing. So we wanted to counter with something else, just a different look, and that different look allowed us to get inside the lane a few times.
Chris? A couple things with Zach. He only had 5 shots, I think, on Tuesday. Was that how much of that was by design, or was it
no design? Yeah. Just he wasn't open, or he didn't feel like he was open. So once again, we look at his overall numbers. You look at the depth of the bigger picture, the big data on him, and he's a heck of a player. And these last 3 games have been, very disappointing for him. How was his reaction after the game? The first 2 was he went and shot like crazy next couple of days. Probably good and bad. He probably didn't have some of that. I didn't see him have the bounce. He still never got the bounce back he had as a freshman and sophomore. But I didn't see him have the bounce at all, and I think he's just tired.
And going into Indiana, obviously he's going to have something to prove. Yeah. Play well there. Do you have a discussion with him about play within yourself?
Well, yeah, I mean, all our Indiana, we grouped that as between Sean and Doc. There's a lot of Indiana connection down there, so that will be more about that, and just make sure that you'd love to have every senior have those type of, if it's a homecoming, whatever, have a really good game on his home court, but the Indiana will have something to say about that too.
on the Muhammad thing, is there, this late in the season, is there some balance there too, where you know that next year he's going to have to play a large role, and until the last 2 weeks he really hasn't?
Yep.
I mean, that you kind of have to balance some of that with like.
But we try to do little bits more for him, and he's got a lot of my confidence right now. But basically, it became a lot during his work habits and practice over the last 3 weeks. He's just taken that next step to really work even harder. Like I said, there's never an issue where we're saying, boy, he's not practicing hard. It's just got to practice harder. And so I think we've seen that. But no, he's one of good is the enemy of great. And that's common with many of our team members, that they will have some success and then let back. With him and most young men that play, that is a common enemy. And so his thing for next year will be about finish this year strong. And then I got to have a summer that is absolutely terrific. So I come back an improved player.
And you played the three of them together. We saw in the second half, him and Xavier and Derek. And I think that was the second half altogether.
I don't remember doing that, but
it was a brief period.
Yeah, I might have. Did I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty unusual.
Yeah, I think we were running such a simplified offense. We could do it. It was really simple. And we just.
That's not really an option going forward.
No, it could be. It's a good idea. I'm glad you brought it up. If it works, it's
Take the salary. Thanks.
You talked about edge. Obviously, Derek played with a lot of passion in that game. But what did you see on video from Mo in that regard?
You know, Mo has always competed. It's sometimes it's the competing is interpreted differently, right? That he may be trying to do things that he can't, like swinging and missing on passes he can't possibly deny. So to give the guy other layup, or give help where he doesn't need to help at all, or deny where he doesn't need to deny. Putting it all together is the thing. But he's really, he practices hard. He loves the game, and he loves competing against people. He loves that give and take of it. So I think that now and in years to come, that he's going to have some real rivals at other schools about who he's guarded many times. It's really going to be interesting. It's going to be fun because you all know him. He's just a terrific kid. He's just a terrific kid to coach, and it has nothing mean about him other than he likes to compete.
You mentioned how hard it is to win in Bloomington. I think you guys have lost your past 6 meetings there. What is it about
the numbers, man? I love the way you do your history, man. Yeah.
What is it about that venue or that atmosphere that makes it so
They've had really, really good teams. They've had really good teams. We took Trey Burke, we took Nick Stauskas, we took some really good teams on. Those were probably our worst losses, is when we had our best teams. That is just a terrific place to play. Have you ever been there? It's straight up and down. It is very loud. They do a tremendous job from an atmospheric point of view, choreographed and just student support. And you better play a really good basketball team there. And very few teams have come in there, whether it was whoever was coaching there, get a W. So it's as you coach here longer and longer, we've got to win every place on the road. But that's one that is a tough place to win. So I think we've got a couple last-second losses, maybe last-minute losses, but our best teams had no chance down there. They were down early and really had trouble doing anything. So I can't put my finger on it, other than they've had a really good run of players and really good coaches over time.
You said after last game, a guy like Xavier playing well could allow others to play with an edge for the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Did you mean that they'd be better rested
Yes.
or more? Okay.
Yeah, if we could just get him, and like I said, and it's Sadi's suggestion to just make things really simple when he's in the game for us. Not that he can't, like I said, not that he can't handle it, but it just may make it. He may be better at this right now. And so, because every game's an adjustment. Every game, okay, this is how they're going to play us, so we're going to do this. This is how we're going to play it, we're going to do this. And gradually it gets natural for you, right? But for him right now, as a freshman, we said, we got to get him on the floor. What's the best way? All right, really dummy down some stuff and just let him go. Because he is a bright kid now. He is bright. But just the timing's off. You got all these things coming in front of you. And he hasn't had the game moments that you'd like to have. All right, so we can't wait for it. We got to just sort of force it in there. But if we can get him more minutes, Derek gets a little bit more rest, but maybe Zach and Muhammad get a little bit more rest. Maybe get a little more fight in them at the end.
Okay, and then following up on playing on the road, I think people would and play, think about literally the travel and then the fans. What else is there that maybe people want to
At
know
this
about?
level, it's not about the travel. We're gonna go in a beautiful plane, and we're gonna be there in an hour, and we're gonna stay at a great hotel, and the meals are incredible. No, I can't tell you, you know, what it is. It's, you know, they practice there every day, their fans are rooting for them. It's everything in every sport. To win on the road is very difficult for any team at any time. And we've done the best we can. We haven't been stellar at it. We haven't been like a Wisconsin that's been on the road, but we've been okay. But the last couple of years we haven't been, and it had a lot to do with the roster that we had. But it's difficult. It's difficult. I don't know how many of you ever been out there when there are 18 to 20,000 people yelling at you when you're trying to run stuff. It's not easy. Not easy, even easy to coach. You know, you're trying to put your time, get your stuff together, and the people are screaming at you, and it's interesting. So we'll prepare for it again, and you know, we're not proud that we haven't got a win yet. If you look at the UCLA and South Carolina, probably nobody's going to win there. So we didn't get off to like a good non-conference start, right, with playing on the road. And now all these games right there, we led at Wisconsin, we led at Iowa. I don't know if we didn't lead at Illinois. Where was the other loss? Michigan State, we led in the second half. We led in the second half, and we led at UCLA. We led in 4 of those 6 games in the second half. Just finishing them is just really hard to do.
Following up on X, I know it was only a couple possessions, but did that kind of performance give you more confidence to give him more minutes?
Yeah. You have to do it. You have to do it in games. You have to do it in practices. You have to do it in games. It's that simple. That they have to show me in practice what they do, and he's been showing that more and more. And then,
did it take that one moment in the game?
Yeah.
Because you said you've seen it in practice, but did it take that one moment in the game to say, okay, I can give him more minutes now?
Yeah, for the next game. Yeah, they gotta keep doing that. I mean, yeah. So it's an easier decision when you see what I see every single day, and then you see the growth and how slow or quick it is. It doesn't make a difference. That's when you make an adjustment of how much you can use it. But a foul trouble, an injury. Sometimes there's stuff we had no idea Aubrey Dawkins could shoot like that. He hadn't done it even in practices, and all of a sudden we throw him in a game as a freshman, and he makes 6 threes or 5 threes. The first games that I think Karras was out 2 years ago, and all of a sudden we didn't know that, and all of a sudden we find out he's a gamer. He's a gamer. He's a guy that just can. He doesn't maybe not show it, but he can really shoot. You just don't know until they're in there, but you don't want to just throw it against the wall sometime and say, well, if he falls on his face, we lose. At least we'll learn something. No, you don't want to lose those games. I don't care who it is that we're playing. You try to win those games. So it's a difficult balance to try to find out what you don't know and still win the game.
Against Illinois, Indiana, Michigan State, I mean, turnovers have become a strength for your defense. What changed to enable that? And do you see anything in practice?
I think Coach Donlan's defense right now is making his pressure a little bit higher, of being more involved on the ball and making their catches a little bit different. I think we fly around a little bit better than we have. But some of the games, they just, they walked to the ball through their hands, and we had nothing to do with it. It just was there, and maybe you hurried them up just enough. I don't know. But I don't think it's a strength, but for some reason we're turning people over a lot more than we have in the past. Not a lot, but
when you have a game like you did in the last time out against Indiana, like how much are you able to take from that for another matchup when that game was so off the rails?
Yeah, brand new game. I just think it's a brand new game. That they're so capable of scoring points, and for us to go and score 50 and a half and 90 overall was that's just difficult to do right now. I think the OER was like one of the highest ever recorded ever. So it was just a great offensive performance. Now we got to go down there. I don't think you can never mirror that again. But we got to pick it up with our defense, and hopefully that we have some type of success, that kids have confidence. Even though I'm sure that Coach Crean and Indiana have a completely different plan. Make sure that not only that they beat us, let alone let us win by any amount of points.
And there's been different versions of that team this year with all the injuries and stuff. Now they have Blackman back, but What have you just kind of seen from them on tape in mainly their last 2 losses?
I think that their team actually has grown as far as a team. I think they were very James Blackman orientated before this, and the injury, although it did not show up in wins and losses, probably their guards have played really well. The point guard Newkirk is this is giving him a great opportunity. You know, he's a 4th-year guy, a transfer. He's been around. So that he has really benefited from this opportunity to be more of a scorer. So I think when you got to guard Blackman and be all over him. We know Johnson's really good, but Newkirk now, we put Newkirk in a different category when he was here. He was a guy that we were going to not be as worried about shooting the ball. Now he's been the best shooter on their team. Him and the big fella Thomas Bryant have been the two best shooters on their team in the last 5 games.
John, excuse me. I know that, you know, probably game planning every day kind of changes, but how much do you look at like recent games and given the back and forth nature of the Big Ten? I mean, last night with Wisconsin and Nebraska and then Indiana and Purdue, how much do you pay attention to those? Because you're going to face both those teams soon. Do you spend a lot of time studying that, or is it just that happened, you don't really look at it?
Like last night, I watched the game just because I'd rather watch it on video because I can replay things much better. But I watched that game. But then I had my eyes on the phone. I don't know. I maybe woke up at 3 or 4 to see who won the game and just looked at it. But yeah, I keep my eye on it because I know that I wasn't surprised at all if Nebraska would have won that game. Wisconsin's just been incredibly good at winning close games. I mean, incredibly good. And so the kid missed 2 foul shots. I mean, that they didn't do anything great there, but they do when they get to that defensive end and offensive end, they're really good. But I pay attention to it, because it's what we do for a living. But I'm not like pouring over that box score this morning saying, okay, we play them next week. No, it's Indiana. The only thing I care about is Indiana right now. Thank you.